Take a look at this photo of East Delhi. This density of concrete and noise is the baseline reality for a 17-year-old named Adnan. He grew up in a hyper-connected environment where you are never truly alone, and help is never more than a few blocks away. But his older friend, Tarun, invites him on a trip to his ancestral home in Bihar. As you can see from the folk art murals decorating the Madhubani station here, stepping off the train means leaving that modern urban safety net behind and crossing over into a much older mythological space. This photo captures the deeply analog reality of their final destination. Out here, there are no streetlights, no dense crowds, and very few distractions. The rhythms of the day are tied strictly to the sun. By the second day, the sheer slowness of village life gets to the boys. Bored out of their minds, they corner Tarun's grandmother as the sun goes down, begging her to entertain them with the darkest local folklore she knows. She tells them about a cursed well that used to sit right at the village crossroads. For years, anyone who went near it, children playing, adults fetching water, would inexplicably fall in and drown. Over time, the area around the well became choked with the restless, localized spirits of the victims, terrorizing the village after dark. Things got so bad that Tarun's grandfather, the village chief at the time, decided to intervene. He brought in a powerful tantric from a neighboring settlement to perform a high-stakes cleansing ritual and rip the entities away from the well. This recreation shows the bizarre vessel the tantric used to trap them. During the ritual, he took a massive, dark pumpkin and cut it open, exposing a thick, deep red liquid inside that looked exactly like blood. He chanted into the night, commanding every entity to leave the well and enter the hollowed-out gourd. And it worked. The sudden, violent winds died down. The tantric sealed the trapped entities inside a heavy black pouch, tied it shut, and carried the cursed object away from the village center. But here is the catch. The grandmother admits that no one in the village ever found out where the tantric buried that pouch. For the elders, it was a terrifying piece of local history. For two bored teenagers from the city, it was an irresistible mystery practically begging to be solved. The next morning, Adnan and Tarun start poking around. They interrogate an elder smoking by the local pond, who gives them a vague clue. The tantric likely wouldn't have carried the heavy pouch far, probably burying it somewhere right along the village border to keep the spirits out. They make a plan to sneak out that night and investigate the border. But hours before they leave, Tarun gets into a massive fight over the phone with his girlfriend. His mood sours completely, and he abandons the plan, opting to go sleep in his grandparents' room instead. Left alone on the roof, Adnan feels the creeping anxiety of the quiet rural night. To cope, he reaches for the only modern crutch he has left, his smartphone. He initiates a video call with his parents back in Delhi. The signal on the roof is weak, so he walks down to the dirt road, his eyes glued to the screen. Distracted by his parents' voices, he wanders further and further away from the safety of the house, completely ignoring his surroundings. At 11 p.m., the call abruptly drops. Adnan looks up from his screen and realizes he is standing alone at the edge of the village pond. His last digital tie to the modern world is gone. As his eyes adjust to the darkness, he spots a figure sitting beneath a large tree near the water. It's a woman, her head bowed, weeping quietly into the night. Adnan cautiously steps forward to ask if she needs help. She stops crying instantly. Without looking up, she tells him to leave, warning him that the area is dangerous. Then she adds something impossible. She asks him why a boy from Delhi is wandering around out here. This portrait visualizes what Adnan saw when she finally lifts her head. Her face emits a harsh, unnatural white glow. Her eyes are endless, pitch-black voids, and thick, dark red liquid drips slowly from her mouth. Pure fight or flight kicks in. Adnan turns around and sprints back up the dirt path toward the village as fast as his legs can carry him. This diagram tracks his escape route. He runs straight ahead, but the path impossibly bends back, dumping him at the pond. He triggers a spatial loop. With every failed lap, another entity materializes on the perimeter. Soon, half a dozen spirits wait for him. Adnan stumbled directly into the heart of the tantric's buried quarantine zone. By wandering here alone at night, he unknowingly stepped past the boundary of a supernatural cage that was never meant to be opened. Lungs burning and panic peaking, Adnan stops trying to navigate. Every time he looks for a way out, his eyes lead him back to the water. In a final, desperate act of defiance against the sight of the pond, he decides to stop looking altogether. This simulation shows his final survival tactic. He clamps his eyes completely shut and launches himself forward into the dark, trusting his legs over his lying eyes. If he can't see the loop, it won't hold him. He sprints blind for what feels like an eternity. Suddenly, the oppressive, freezing air lifts. He feels a shift in the atmosphere, opens his eyes, and sees Tarun's house right in front of him. The next morning, a feverish Adnan describes the tree and weeping woman to the village elders. The color drains from their faces. No one had visited that spot in years, but they knew it immediately. That tree marks the exact grave where the tantric buried the black pouch. Adnan immediately flees back to the concrete noise of Delhi. He learned that in places like Madhubani, ancient warnings aren't folklore. They are boundaries. Crossing them for the sake of curiosity is the fastest way to become the subject of the next local legend.